I wasn't looking for anything. That's the part that keeps hitting me, the thing I can't let go of, no matter how much time passes. I wasn't snooping, I wasn't suspicious. I wasn't digging through her stuff like some jealous husband with a paranoia problem. I was just trying to help. Just trying to keep the chaos of a normal Tuesday night from swallowing us whole. The stove was on. Logan was half watching cartoons, half launching race cars down the hallway. I had a laundry timer buzzing in the background, and Amy was in our room, brushing her hair in the mirror with one hand and checking her phone with the other. She said she had a meeting that night. Just a late one with the team, she told me, offhand like it was nothing. Might run late, don't wait up. I remember the way she looked when she said that. Lipstick a shade redder than usual, hair a little more styled than she normally bothered with for work. She smelled like her expensive perfume, the one she used to only spritz before special nights out. The black blouse she wore wasn't new, but it fit her a little too perfectly. Tucked into dark jeans that hugged her in a way I hadn't seen in a while. Her heels clicked against the hardwood as she walked out, pausing at the door with a soft, distracted smile. "Oh, can you grab my glasses from the glove box? I totally forgot them." "Yeah, sure," I said, wiping tomato sauce off my hands with a dish towel. "You're gonna be okay to drive at night?" She gave me this amused little smirk, like I was being overprotective. "It's not that late. I'm good." Then she kissed Logan on the head, grabbed a purse I didn't recognize, it wasn't expensive, just different, and walked out the door with her phone still in hand, half smiling at the screen. I waited a beat, just enough time to stir the pot on the stove, and then made my way down to the garage. The glasses were exactly where she said they'd be, tucked in the glove box with the usual mess, gum wrappers, some old receipts, a crumpled pack of tissues. Nothing surprising. Until I saw one folded piece of paper. I wish I could say something about it screamed look at me, but it didn't. It was just placed. Too neat. Too clean. Like someone had gone out of their way to fold it with intention. I hesitated. It wasn't a big dramatic pause, just a flicker of something, like my brain nudging me, this doesn't belong. I unfolded it. Harbor Point Grill. 2 entrees, wine, dessert. Total well over $100, not including tip. A dinner for 2. A special dinner. The timestamp punched me harder than the prices. 7:14 p.m., Friday night. The same Friday night she told me she was stuck at the office late, then crashed at her coworker Megan's place because the roads were icy and she was too tired to drive home. She texted me that night, said she was ordering pizza, watching Netflix, surrounded by files and coffee mugs. But this receipt? This one was for filet mignon. A bottle of red with a vintage I couldn't even pronounce. And dessert for 2. That's literally what it said. I stood there in the half-lit garage, receipt shaking between my fingers, while my mind tried to make excuses. Business dinner? But 3 hours away? With wine and dessert? At a place that took reservations weeks in advance? No way. The timeline didn't lie. The details didn't add up. It wasn't business. It wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. I stared at that little slip of paper like it had personally punched a hole through my chest. The edges felt sharper than they should have. My mouth was dry. My heart wasn't pounding. It was doing that thing where it slows down instead, like it's trying to process the blow before it lets you feel it. I wanted to believe there was some explanation. That maybe, just maybe, I'd missed something. That there was a version of this where I wasn't standing in our garage realizing my wife had lied to me. But I knew better. We'd been together long enough for me to know when something felt off. And this? This was beyond off. I folded the receipt the exact same way I'd found it. Slid it back into the stack like I was trying to erase the moment from existence. Closed the glove box, grabbed her glasses, and walked back upstairs with the most practiced calm I could manage. She was putting on her earrings when I came back in. I handed her the glasses and she smiled, distracted. "Thank you," she said, like nothing in the world was wrong. And I said nothing. Because I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to accuse her without knowing everything. I didn't want to hear a lie I couldn't unhear. But inside? Inside, I felt something fracture. Something subtle and cold, like a slow crack in glass that you don't see right away. You only notice it later, When the whole thing shatters in your hands? She left 20 minutes later. I sat with Logan on the couch, half watching his show while my mind kept circling the same truth over and over again. She wasn't where she said she was that night. And she hadn't been alone. I didn't sleep much that night. After I put Logan to bed, I just sat there. Lights off. TV on but muted. The receipt kept flashing through my head, like it had burned itself into the inside of my eyelids. I tried not to replay it, but I couldn't help it. The neat fold, the restaurant name, that stupid dessert for two. She texted around 9:30. Just wrapping up, running late. Don't wait up. Love you. I stared at it for a long time. Didn't respond. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew that if I said anything at all, the dam would break. That was the beginning of the quiet. It didn't all fall apart at once. That's not how these things usually go. What happens is, you start noticing things you'd been brushing off for months. Maybe even years. They don't seem like red flags when you love someone. They feel like quirks. Changes. But in hindsight, they're neon signs blinking in your face, and you're just too in love, or too scared, to read them. The next morning, she was already gone before I woke up. Logan padded into our room and climbed into bed with me, all elbows and wild morning hair. I held him a little tighter than usual. Not for him, for me. By the time Amy came home that evening, something in her had shifted. Her phone stayed face down on the kitchen counter. She laughed a little too hard at Logan's knock-knock joke. When she hugged me hello, she smelled like a different perfume, something sharper, unfamiliar. Her clothes weren't anything outlandish, but I didn't recognize the shirt she was wearing. I remembered everything she owned. I'd folded that laundry for 10 years. I didn't say anything. Didn't accuse. Didn't push. Just watched. I became quiet in ways she didn't notice at first. I stopped asking questions about her meetings. I didn't nag her when she came home late. I stopped offering to help with her bags when she walked in the door. The normal pieces of me started fading away. She noticed eventually, but not in the way I expected. She started humming. I know how strange that sounds, but it hit me like a punch in the chest. She used to hum when she was happy. When we first met, she'd sing along to the radio while brushing her teeth. She hummed while folding towels. She hummed while she baked on Sundays. And then, somewhere along the way, it stopped. Until recently. Now, she was humming again. Not in a nostalgic way either. It was like some internal melody had returned. Like some secret joy had been sparked back to life, and the worst part was, it wasn't for me. I watched her hum while she wiped down the counters, eyes lost in some other world. I watched her lean against the kitchen sink, smiling at some message on her phone while Logan showed her his dinosaur drawing and she didn't even look up. I started mapping things. Not obsessively, not at first. I just started keeping mental notes. What days she came home late. What clothes she wore. How often she smiled for no reason. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, only that I needed to see the pattern. I needed to know I wasn't losing my mind. I even looked up that restaurant, Harbor Point Grill. Plaza. Coastal. Menu with 3-digit wines and a view of the water. I scrolled through their reservation page just to see. They were booked solid for 2 weeks. That dinner wasn't spontaneous. It was planned. That's when I called my brother, Josh. Josh is a good guy, bit of a hard ass, sure, but he's always had my back. Former military. Now he runs private security and investigative work. I didn't want to drag him into it. I didn't want to need to drag him into it. But I needed someone who wouldn't just feed me hope. I needed facts. I'm not asking you to tail her, I said when I called. I need to know if I'm crazy. Josh was quiet for a second. Then he said, You want confirmation, not speculation. Exactly. I'll be discreet. Please. And that was it. The next time she had a girls' night, she was a little extra bouncy about it. Hair curled. Lipstick bright. She wore boots I hadn't seen in months. Those ones she said made her feet hurt. She texted Megan while sipping her wine before heading out, laughing under her breath like they were already in on some inside joke. Logan was down for the night. I stood by the front window with the lights off, just watching her taillights disappear. Then I waited. Josh didn't call. Didn't text. Not until after midnight. He didn't send a message. Just a single photo. Me. Stepping out of her SUV in Westport Beach. That's 3 hours from here. Same town as the restaurant. She wore jeans and a tan coat. Casual. Comfortable. But done up enough that you could tell this wasn't a hangout with friends. A man met her at the curb. Tall, dark hair. Crisp white shirt. He smiled when he saw her, like he'd seen her 100 times before. They hugged. Not long, not dirty. Just familiar. Then they walked into the hotel together. No bags. No guilt. Like it was routine. I stared at the photo for a long time. I couldn't even be angry in that moment. Not really. What I felt was emptiness. Like someone had scooped out my insides and left the shell standing upright, pretending to breathe. I didn't confront her. I didn't send the photo to her phone with a dramatic caption. I didn't call Josh and ask for more. I already had what I needed. I just packed a bag. Small one. Couple shirts. My toothbrush. A picture of Logan. I left the house and drove north toward the cabin we used to rent every fall. It had no Wi-Fi. No cell service. Just a wood stove and silence. I turned off my phone. Let the world go black. And for the first time in months, I slept. The cabin was colder than I remembered. I hadn't been there in years, but everything was still in place. Same creaky floorboards, same rusted lanterns on the porch, same chipped mug we used to argue over who got to drink from first. I lit the fire, threw my bag on the couch, and just sat there in the dark while the room slowly thawed. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even talk to myself, which is what I thought I'd do. I just breathed. I stayed off my phone for 2 days. No calls. No texts. No checking Logan's school app. Just quiet. It's amazing how loud your thoughts get when the world finally shuts up. Every hour passed like a slow drip from a leaky faucet. At some point, I took a walk down to the lake trail. Trees bare. Wind sharp. It helped me feel alive again, even if everything inside me still felt hollow. When I finally powered the phone back on, it buzzed so hard I thought it might catch fire. Missed calls, voicemails, texts. The first few were from Amy. Hey, where are you? Can you call me please? Mark, I'm getting really worried. Please don't do this. Talk to me. I don't understand what's going on. Then it turned. A screenshot from her Facebook page hit like a sucker punch. A photo of her and the guy from the hotel, sitting at a brunch table in some sunlit cafe, smiling like high school sweethearts. The caption? New chapter. That's what she wrote. New chapter. No mention of Logan. No acknowledgement of me. Just her, reposting the highlight reel of a life she burned to the ground without blinking. My mom texted too. Said Amy had called her, panicked, asking if she'd heard from me. Mom told her I was okay, that I needed space. I guess that's the word people use when they don't want to admit what they've done. Amy tried calling my brother. Said I was going through something. That she didn't understand what had triggered this. That she was worried I was having a breakdown. That was the worst part. Not the cheating. Not the lies. But the gaslighting. She knew. She knew what she did. And yet she still tried to spin the story like I'd just lost my grip. Like I'd cracked under the weight of my own imagination. I didn't respond to any of it. Not to her, not to the friends suddenly sliding into my DMs with just checking in messages. The silence was working for me. And the more I held it, the more her mask slipped. She didn't post about Logan. Not once. No check-ins asking how he was doing. No offers to come see him. No questions about school or soccer or what book he was into that week. It was like she had left both of us behind. Like we were footnotes. Josh kept tabs, but only when I asked. And when I did, what I got was simple. She's still seeing the guy. Nothing new. Until one day, there was something new. She's back in town, he texted. Alone. Hotel guy hasn't been seen in over a week. I asked around. He checked out. No forward address. No social media activity. I reread the message twice. Then again. He was gone. Just like that. Amy didn't post about it. Didn't make some vague Instagram quote about healing or closure or growth. She just went silent. For a while. Then came the unraveling. One by one, her accounts got quiet. The bright captions stopped. The photos stopped. She moved out of our house, quietly, with a moving truck that showed up at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday while Logan was at school. She didn't take much. A few boxes. Clothes. A stack of books. The dog, Bruno, she left behind. That one got me more than I expected. She used to call him our baby. Posted about him more than she ever did about me. And now? Just left him curled on the couch, watching the door she never came back through. I didn't celebrate her collapse. That's not what this is. I didn't want her to suffer. I didn't want revenge. But the silence, the way she faded instead of fighting, it told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a mistake. It was a decision. A calculated risk that didn't pan out. Sometimes you don't get a villain. Sometimes the person who hurts you just folds. And that's when I started to rebuild. It wasn't dramatic. I didn't post some big status about new beginnings or cutting people off. I didn't reinvent myself with a gym membership or a new car. I just started with small things. Cooking meals I actually liked. Sleeping with the windows open again. Taking Logan for walks around the lake and letting him talk until he ran out of breath. Watching him laugh again, really laugh, without her shadow hanging over our lives. I got a remote job. Took on freelance work. Moved our stuff into a smaller place near the school. We didn't need the big house. We needed peace. Therapy helped too. I didn't go to talk about Amy. I went to talk about me. About why I let things fester. About why I swallowed my instincts for so long. About why I kept saying it's fine when I was bleeding inside. I didn't want to carry that into the next version of me. And somewhere in that stretch of quiet days and slow mornings, I started feeling okay. Not healed. Not whole. But okay. And then came the fair. The spring fair was something I almost didn't go to. I wasn't sure I was ready to be around all those people. The parents with perfect smiles, the teachers asking polite questions, the booths with raffle baskets and cupcakes, and the faint buzz of gossip floating under the sound of cotton candy machines. But Logan wanted to go. Said he wanted to show me his classroom's bean sprout project and the Lego set he won in the guess how many jelly beans jar. So we went. It was one of those breezy April afternoons, sun low, wind carrying that hint of warm weather but still sharp enough to make you pull your jacket tighter. Logan's hand was in mine, sticky from a half-melted lollipop, as we wandered from booth to booth. He tugged me toward the face paint table. Then the pie booth. Then a hayride. I hadn't seen him that happy in months. I wasn't thinking about her. Not even a little. I didn't scan crowds looking for her anymore. I didn't wonder if she'd show up somewhere unannounced. Amy had become like smoke, something that once filled every room but now drifted through the cracks, fading before I could name the shape. Until she was there. I didn't see her at first. Logan had just pulled me toward the petting zoo, goats in a pen, kids squealing, parents taking blurry photos. I bent down to tie his shoe, and when I stood up I saw her. Across the fairground, near the entrance. She was standing there like a ghost dropped into the wrong timeline. Pale coat. Hair curled like it used to be. Earrings I didn't recognize, big, gold, trying too hard. She wasn't alone. He was next to her. The man from the hotel. I froze. Not from fear. Not even from shock. It was something else. Like my body registered the weight of that moment before my brain did. Amy wasn't smiling. Neither was he. They weren't holding hands. Just walking side by side, stiff, like strangers pretending to know each other. I didn't want to be seen. But Logan, in perfect timing, looked up at me and shouted, "Dad." The pie booth's that way, and tugged my hand hard. And just like that, she saw us. Her eyes locked onto mine. Everything about her changed. Her steps slowed. Her face shifted, not in some dramatic movie scene way. It was subtle, but I saw it all. Recognition. Then panic. Then something deeper, something like grief. She looked at Logan, who didn't notice her. He was too busy deciding between apple or cherry. And then she looked back at me. Like she was seeing something she didn't think existed anymore. Like she was looking at a life she thought she buried, now standing in front of her, whole and intact. The man beside her said something. She didn't respond. Her gaze didn't move. I didn't say a word. I didn't wave. I didn't flinch. I just turned to Logan and smiled. Let's go, bud. I hear the cherry's amazing. And we walked. Behind me I could feel the air shift. Could feel her standing there. Not chasing. Not calling out. Just frozen. Watching the reality she abandoned walk away without her. That was the moment I realized the power of silence. She wasn't expecting confrontation. She wasn't expecting calm. And I wasn't playing the role she'd probably written for me, the bitter ex, the broken man, the scene maker. I was just, okay, more than okay. I had my son's hand in mine, and for the first time since this whole thing started, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. No second guessing. No heavy thoughts. No script to follow. Just moving forward. We bought pie. Sat on a bench. Watched the sun start to dip behind the trees. Logan chattered about school and recess and which kid farted during story time. And Amy? She was gone. When I finally stood up and looked around, the spot where she'd been was empty. No footprints. No trace. Just wind and music and the smell of kettle corn. And somehow, that was enough. You'd think that seeing her again would wreck me. That it would drag everything back up, tear open old wounds, make me spiral. But it didn't. Not even close. What I felt walking away from Amy at that fair wasn't pain. It wasn't rage. It was something harder to explain, like watching someone else's dream dissolve in real time. I wasn't part of her world anymore, and for the first time, I didn't want to be. She saw Logan. She saw me. And whatever version of the story she had been telling herself, that I was bitter, broken, lost without her, that version collapsed the moment she saw us smile. That was the real ending. Not the hotel. Not the text messages. Not even the photo Josh took that night. The end came in silence, in that split second where she realized she had no place left in the picture. I didn't hear from her after the fair. Not a message. Not a call. Not even a stray like on one of Logan's school photos I posted. She disappeared all over again, only this time, I didn't care where she went. And if I'm being honest, I don't think she knows how to come back. That guy she was with, I don't know the full story. I don't know if he left her, if she left him, or if they just unraveled like most things built on secrecy and delusion. But I do know this, she looked hollow. The way she carried herself, the way she froze when she saw us, it wasn't the look of someone who made a clean break and landed on her feet. It was the look of someone who burned their bridge and forgot to check if they knew how to swim. I've spent a lot of nights since then just breathing. That sounds ridiculous, I know. But it's not until you come out of a situation like that, where every day feels like you're bracing for something to crack, that you realize how much you were holding your breath. Now I sleep through the night. Logan's laughter fills our little house like it used to. I leave the porch light on when it rains just because I like the way it looks. I started journaling. Just little things, moments I want to remember. The way Logan tugs my sleeve when he's proud of something. The way my coffee tastes better now, even though I haven't changed a thing about how I brew it. I started seeing someone. Slowly. Carefully. Nothing dramatic. She's kind. Thoughtful. Doesn't push. Doesn't pry. She knows about Amy, about the fallout, about the mess. And somehow she stays. I don't know what this will turn into. But for once, I'm not rushing toward a destination. I'm letting it be what it is. Some nights I still think about the way things could have gone differently. I think about how close I came to missing it. To ignoring the signs. To choosing the lie because it was easier than admitting the truth. But that's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't shout. It whispers. And you have to be really honest with yourself to hear it. Amy taught me that. She also taught me what I'll never tolerate again. What I'll never ignore. What love isn't. I don't hate her. That's probably the part people don't expect. I don't hate her. I think she's sad. I think she's lost in a way she doesn't even understand. And maybe that guy, the one in the white shirt, the one who walked into the hotel with her like it was normal, maybe he saw something in her she didn't see in herself. Maybe that's what she was chasing all along. A mirror. A story. Something to make her feel new again. But that wasn't my job. It never was. My job is to show Logan what love really looks like. What honesty sounds like. What it means to show up, to stay, To choose someone even when things get hard. And I'm doing that now. Every day. Sometimes, the best closure isn't confrontation. It's not getting the last word. It's not watching the other person fall apart. Sometimes, the best closure is the life you build when they're no longer in it. The quiet. The peace. The morning coffee that tastes just right. A few weeks after the fair, I got an email from Amy. No subject line. Just a short message. I saw you and Logan. You looked happy. I'm sorry for everything. That was it. No explanations. No attempts to reopen anything. Just a message dropped like a pebble into a river that had already moved on. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry, but because there was nothing left to say. Her story had ended in my world. The door had quietly closed. Logan never asked about her. Kids know more than we give them credit for. He stopped expecting her to show up. Stopped waiting for her calls. At first, I worried that would scar him. But then I realized he wasn't mourning her absence. He was adapting to my presence. I was there. Consistently. Fully. That's what mattered. One night he asked if moms could forget how to love. It broke something in me to hear that, but I told him the truth. Sometimes people get lost, I said. And sometimes they don't know how to come back. He nodded, quiet, and leaned against me. That was all he needed. Not excuses. Just honesty. And that was the first night he called our place home. Amy eventually moved out of state. I heard through someone at the school that she was trying to start fresh. I hope she does. I really do. I hope she finds herself in the mess she made and learns something from it. Not for me, but for the version of her that used to laugh while folding laundry and sing with a toothbrush in her mouth. I grieved that version. I buried her long before the papers were signed. The new woman in my life, her name's Rachel. She met Logan slowly, over time. Never tried to replace anything. She just showed up. Gently. Quietly. The way good people do. One night, after dinner, Logan told her she laughs like music. She cried in the car on the way home. I think that was the moment I knew. Sometimes, I still wake up expecting to feel that old weight on my chest. The dread, the suspicion, the ache of knowing something's wrong but not being able to prove it. But those mornings are fewer now. The silence doesn't scare me anymore. It comforts me. Peace is louder than chaos. You just have to survive long enough to hear it. So that's it. That's how it all fell apart, and how I got back up. She held a stranger's hand. I held my son's. And in the end, that made all the difference.